This is Scott Cordell, and in this video today we're going to continue with the project we started in part 1 of this series for the Mountain Wheels project out of the textbook for assignment 5.1. So where we are on the screen right now is we have left off exactly at the end of step 3, and we have just finished putting in the UTF-8 for the char set. We pushed all these changes over to GitHub. We actually went and changed back to the main method once we're done, or main branch, sorry, when we're done, and refreshed all that. So right now we are completely in sync here. You'll notice on the screen that I am inside of my VM, and I'm using Visual Studio Code to do this, as well as I've got GitHub running in the background so that we can see all of that here. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is start a brand new branch. We're step 4. This video, by the way, is going to cover the second part here. I'm going to try to cover steps 4 through 11 in this one video, and then finally the third part, all of the others. So we'll get started here, creating a brand new branch, following the same pattern we used before. This is step 4, so we're going to do this as the 4th branch. Once we create that branch, it changes us to it, and we push it over to GitHub, so everything is connected right now. Once this stops spinning, then we go into step 4, which says go to the structural styles section and create a style rule that sets the background color of the browser window to the RGB color they gave us. Now remember, these structural styles right here are actually in HTML, everything inside the body. So the HTML tag actually takes care of the background color. The body is everything else that's going to be on top of that. And then inside of there, we have header, nav, article, aside, footer. Those are all structural tags or structural elements. So this one, they want the entire page to be a certain color. So that will be our HTML. Again, since I'm in Visual Studio Code, it'll let me complete some of this stuff automatically. Just remember, when you do RGBs or HSLs, either one, you do not want to have a space between RGB and anything else. So everything ought to be together. I do put spaces inside so that everything, after the commas at least, so that everything works well. I'm going to click Save here. And then just like we've done in the past, I'm going to go to the tourist page. And I have a tool that will let me open in browser, and I'll definitely demonstrate that tool to you later. But there's that blue color. And the reason I knew it was going to be blue is because in my Visual Studio Code, it shows me a preview of the color right there. So when I'm looking at the page, yep, that's what I should be looking for. And that's the end of step 4. So to complete this step, we've made the changes. We need to go and do a commit, just as before. Completed step 4, just take all those changes. Remember, we've saved. Now we're doing this. Make a commit, hit the check mark, send that over to to GitHub. When that finishes spinning, we should be able to go to GitHub and see immediately it just popped up. And these steps are real simple. Compare, complete the pull, let this do all the checking, and we merge the pull, and then we confirm the merge. Return to the code, so we're back at home base again. And when we return to Visual Studio Code, go back to the main branch, I'll get that right, and synchronize that. So that now, on the main, we actually have this as well. Step 5, same pattern. We're going to make a branch. Publish it. And now we're set to make changes. Step 5 says to create a style rule for the body element that sets the background color to the RGB thing they've given, and sets the body font to the font stack Century Gothic and Sans Serif. Now, since this is still in structural styles, that'll be right after HTML. It'll be the body tag. And we're going to set the background color. So again, I'm going to use Visual Studio Code to help me. And this is 227, 210, 173. And it looks like it's kind of a tannish kind of color, which we'll check in just a moment. And then it wants us to go ahead and do one other thing, and that is change the font stack, which is our font family. And again, I should have used the autocomplete, so it put the semicolon in for me. Notice that Century Gothic here is in quotes. That's because it is a named Windows font, and it has a space in it, whereas sans serif is a default font that's just built for the web and has no space, instead has a dash. And just remember, if you're ever going to use a named font like Times New Roman, it has to be Times space New space Roman. All right, that's the end of step 5. So we'll go make sure we're in Explorer and hit save. Remember, you can also do Control S or Control KS. That saved it. I'll go back to my page. Doesn't look like it worked, but if we hit refresh, there's that tannish, yellowish kind of color, and the fonts all did change. So all those changes are good. That means that this is ready for a commit. To do that, we go back to source control. And the reason I'm doing this complete as step 5, if someone wants to know what step 5 is, they are welcome to go buy the book and look through it and find step 5 and see exactly what we did. So we'll push those changes out to GitHub. And maybe I got there too quick. Oh, sorry, did not synchronize. All right, so I committed, but I forgot to sync. And there it is. So I'll compare, complete, merge, confirm. That means everything is now in the main method, or I keep saying main method, I apologize, main branch. So when we return to Visual Studio Code, go back to the main branch and synchronize that. So 2 steps down already. And you can see that as we did that, it brought this over into the main, whereas if we go back, and yes, you can do this at any point, I can go back and look at what was in version 5, step 5 here, and compare it even, let's go back to 2, where we didn't have anything in there. Just be careful, make sure you're always on the branch you want to be working on. Also make sure that you always return to the main when you're creating new branches. You don't want to make a branch of a branch, or even worse, several layers deep branches. So we're going to move on to step 6. Make the branch, publish it. And now they want to create a style rule to display the body footer with a background color of RGB number they give us, and set the top and bottom padding to 5 spaces. So they want the footer, which again is one of those tags that's over in our HTML. Sorry, wrong tags there, wrong brackets. And again, if we go over here and look, that means that anything in that footer part that we just typed in is going to affect anything that's right here, anything that's in footer. Now notice, it does give me a warning right now. I wanted to point this out because we have no rules. It doesn't like empty rules. That's okay, we're going to add one. So this one, they wanted the background color again. And this was an RGB as well. They also want us to give it top and bottom padding of 5 pixels. Since we're only doing top and bottom and not left and right also, we have to actually do this the long way. So it's padding, and we'll just start at top of 5 px per pixels. And the padding at the bottom, again, I should have used the autocorrect there, or the auto help. And again, I will save those. I just hit Control S. That does move it to source, but before we look at that, we need to verify that the page actually is doing something, and the footer right now looks like this. When we hit refresh, it looks like that instead. So background color, and there's a little bit of a gap at the top and the bottom so that the letters are not touching those separating lines. So now that we finished step 6, we'll go to source control, give it a message, Oh, sorry, I didn't hit commit. Synchronize that with GitHub. And now we'll do the compare, create. Now the merge and confirm. Return back to home base code here. And when we go back to Visual Studio, change back to your main and synchronize that. Notice that the footer stuff is not in main right now. As we hit refresh and it pulls everything up, now it is. All right, so one more step and I'll end this video because we're going to bump into time here. So the last one, and this will be step 7. So we made a branch, push it, and step 7 wants us to create a style rule for the address element to display the text. Now, this one, you can get away with just doing address. That will work. Since the address in our HTML is inside of the footer, in other words, it's right here nested inside of it, then what I would do is probably do footer address. In other words, I would add this to the front, and this would be the address that's in the footer. It's the only address we've got, but that makes it a little more clear. Just in case you add an address somewhere else on the page somewhere, this style will only affect the one that we're going to put together here. They want a normal font, so that's the font style. They want everything centered. Font size is 0.9 EMs. And remember to look in the book exactly how big an M is, an EM is. And now we need padding on the top and bottom of 10 pixels each. Again, we'll save all those changes, and when I hit Control S, it moves from having changes here to the source. That means we need to go look at the page. And again, we're only dealing with this, so refresh again to make sure changes did happen. And sure enough, everything looks pretty much like what we have at the, if you flip back to page 163, looks just like what was at the bottom of the page there. That means it's time to accept this change as a commit. Completed step 7 and commit that. And again, you can either watch the blue bar dance across there or just wait. Hit the synchronize button. And when we head to GitHub, go through the 4 clicks here. And then return to Visual Studio Code, back to our main, and then synchronize everything there so that the footer address will show up here. And that's it for step 7. So that's it for this video. We went through steps 4 through 7 of the Mountain Wheels exercise. In next videos, we're going to pick up the pace just a bit and do a little more and see if we can't get this into only 3 parts. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching.